What does it really mean to be kind to yourself? Does it mean that you need to self-pamper yourself, or you need to rest a lot, or you need to don't work and just lay on your bed and sleep well? What does it actually mean to be kind to yourself? Because I heard that a lot, because I do a lot of work. Like, I love to explore different things. I love to I love to work on different things at the same time, and I've been doing that a lot, and so many people tell me, Divya, you need to rest. Divya, you need to be kind to yourself. Divya, it's okay, you don't need to be hard on yourself. But I always end up with this question: what exactly do you mean that I need to be kind to myself? What exactly do you mean by being kind to yourself? Because I feel like I'm very kind to myself. I do feel that I'm kind to myself in lots of ways which I cannot explain, to be honest. But I was having a feedback with my professor on a project I did, and he loved it. Everything was perfect, and I even thought that he's gonna give me a feedback that the way you need to improve, blah blah blah, like I just thought of that. But he ended up saying the project is great, but I would only say that be kind to yourself. I'm like, what the fuck? Where is it coming from? And he told me that I know that you did it well and everything is perfect, but I would say you need to enjoy the process and be kind to yourself. I wondered again, and I was like, okay, thank you so much for your feedback. But then I realized, and I started thinking what exactly it means. And I started processing, or I would say backtracking, my childhood and my past. And I backtracked, and I got to this conclusion, and I would say I've even realized, or I would even say that it made me connect to my past version. I really admired my past versions. I would say even more than the version I am right now. So I realized that way before, I used to read a lot. Okay, I was reading lots of philosophies, psychologies, and I would say even like scientific research about brain. And I also studied lots of different religious texts. And for example, I studied about Hinduism, Christianity, and other stuff. And everything made me, like, all the studies I'd done took me to this conclusion that the problem in this world is I. Yeah. The more you think about yourself, the more you only think about yourself, the more problem you'll create. So subconsciously, I ended up accepting that, because I reached that conclusion by myself, and I started following it, and I even saw the results of it. I think I became more proactive, I became more curious, and I started feeling more about things around me. I started being more proactive, etc. And lots of things happened. I became an ideal version for people around me. Lots of people started seeing me, that whenever they talk to me, they feel that I am very interesting. And there were even people who started saying, or I would say younger kids who started saying that you inspire us a lot. And I started liking it somehow. And I ended up becoming more and more conscious, and at the same time subconscious, about my decisions of my daily life. I started that doesn't mean that I ignored myself totally. That means that I started choosing things which really matters around me. That doesn't mean that I don't matter. Obviously I do matter, but in the sense that the more I'm gonna think about myself, or the more I'm gonna think that I'm the center of the world, the more problem I'm gonna have. In the sense that whenever someone is gonna talk about me or bad, like I'm gonna attach myself to my ego a lot if I'm gonna think about myself. So that's what I did. I detached myself from that ego, and I ended up being so free, and I love that freedom. And so I think being kind to myself and being free is the same thing for me. So how would I say it? When I decided that I'm going to a different country and I'm gonna study there, specifically what I'm studying right now, design, I decided that because that's gonna give me more freedom, and that's connected to me being kind to myself, because I do listen to myself, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna self-pamper myself a lot. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna always talk about my own problems to people. Obviously not. So that gave me a lot of direction. And so I would say, for me, being kind to myself is being curious, being free, and using this limited time I have on this planet to the full of its like possibilities, I would say. Like, I don't think I said it correctly. Using that time to the best of his ability, to the best of my abilities. And I think I'm doing that. But the process is a bit tiring. I do understand that I do need to be a bit kind to myself, because in place of putting a blame on someone else for a problem happening in my life, I don't do that. I always put a blame on myself. But I think I don't do it in a way that I'm blaming myself of or I would say hating myself. I do it in a way that I need to improve it. So I think that's what being kind to myself means for me. So that's what I'm doing. So in simple terms, if I would say, so for me, not resting a lot and not wasting a lot of time, and being proactive, being efficient, and going after my curiosities, my dreams, is being kind to myself for the sake of taking care of myself, for the sake of using the time I have. Exactly. I know it could sound weird, but I think it's also connected to my vision of time. I always have this issue with time since I was a kid. I would say 80-year-old. That's the time I have realized it a lot. I know it sounds weird again, but that's the thing. I remember when I was an 8-year-old child, I used to look at the sky and I used to ask myself and question, what am I doing on this planet? Because I was a science nerd since I was a child, and I used to know that this universe is huge. And I was like, so what am I doing here? And what's going to happen when everyone is going to die? Like in my family, like, am I going to be alone? So what's going to be the purpose after? Because right now the purpose is living with the family, loving everyone, and I don't know, like being kind to everyone or taking care of people and just enjoying life, that was the purpose. So what's gonna be the purpose after everyone is gone? That was my first question I asked myself. And I was also wondering, what exactly, like, why exactly are we here? Are we a miracle or a mistake in this universe? Because this universe is huge. And after that onwards, I was like, so I'm gonna fulfill my curiosities, which I have in my brain, and take care of my family, because I think love is a very important part of life. Not in the sense that you're obsessed over someone, but in a sense that love is a feeling which helps you grow. Love is a feeling which just lets you be you, I would say, even. But not the kind of love most of the people, I'm not denying your kind of love you're living with, but I would really say love doesn't mean that you need to have someone in your life. No, that doesn't mean that. Love is like, you can love your person or you can love your family even after they are gone. Love can surpass death. Okay, that would be the another topic we can talk about. So going back to be kind to yourself, obviously be kind to yourself, take care of yourself, sleep well. I do need to do that, but it's fine. So yeah, that's the point. So for me, being kind to myself is just more than pampering myself and sleeping on time or eating good food or whatever. Taking care of myself and being kind to myself is the part of bigger part of my life, where I'm curious, where I'm me, where I'm like being efficient, where I'm fulfilling my curiosities and working hard, I would say. That is being kind to myself. Not suffering, but really doing it intentionally. And I have picked this version of myself intentionally. I had a choice to, I don't know, make hundreds of different versions I could have been, like there are possibilities in this timeline. But I picked this version because I think this version is the version I can really fulfill the curiosities I have. And hopefully I'm gonna share more about that. But yeah, that's what being kind to myself mean. So whenever someone says that to you, be kind to yourself, it doesn't always mean that you really need to take care of yourself more. No, you can be hard on yourself, bro, like literally, if it's really benefiting you. But don't victimize yourself, or I would say don't blame yourself for everything, because things change, it's time and things change. So yeah, thank you.